Yo, Kai, yo! Hey, hello, man. What's up, man? Oh, he's in chat. What's up, man?
We sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the juvenile justice system, official misconduct, and battery by a police officer, and is brought to us by Illinois Times' channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the interaction, I want to give a big thanks to the sponsor of this episode, Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. Rocket Money to Rocket Money for sponsoring this episode. On February 27th...
Yo, wait, hold up. Is guys there? Is he here? I bought the whole thing. Pac-Man. Big Pog, big sponsor. Pog. Bro, watch this. Is the video still up or not on YouTube? I think maybe it's deleted. Fuck. It's off YouTube, I think. Oh, all I have is my brother. My brother's version of it. Look at that. That was my first ever backflip. Have you seen that before? Look at this. Look. My first ever backflip. That was scary. Why, is it long? Huh? Is it a long video or what? Oh, why is it so long?
Yeah!
Oh my fucking god, my ears just broke. Alright, fuck it. It's on the
2017.
internet. Guys, it's on the internet. It's been removed. I can't find it. Man.
Officer Samuel Rosario and Officer Orlando Manzanares of the Springfield Police Department responded to a report of criminal damage to property in Springfield, Illinois, and approached the home where 19-year-old Robert Humes lived with his mother and sister. The interaction was captured on Officer Rosario's body camera.
How we doing, bud?
What do you do today?
Better, huh? What's going on, man?
Was it social or not?
What's going on, man?
Well, my daughter, she just like flipped out a while ago about a money deal. Tells me I owe her like 40 bucks for changing hers. So she started flipping out. She busted a glass table, which table's no good, but she still had no business breaking my glass table, though.
Do you know which way she went?
No, I didn't see. I was.
She went that way? You want to see if you can find her? I mean, we got at least criminal damage.
After speaking with Mr. Humes and his mother, Officer Rosario asks Officer Manzanares to try to find his 16-year-old sister, who allegedly broke a glass-top table. According to Section 21-1 of Article 5 of Title 720 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes, quote, "A person commits criminal damage to property when he or she knowingly damages any property of another, and the offense is a Class A misdemeanor when the damage to property does not exceed $500. Under Illinois law, a 16-year-old who commits a misdemeanor offense will typically not be charged with a crime in criminal court. Instead, prosecutors will file a petition in the juvenile court alleging that the child is a so-called delinquent minor, which Section 5-105 of Article 405 of Title 705 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes.
Man, we streaming. Yeah, Kyle, we streaming pretty much all day, pretty much, yeah. I have to just stream, yeah. I need to stay awake for sure.
Finds as, quote, any minor who prior to his or her 18th birthday has violated or attempted to violate, regardless of where the act occurred, any federal, state, county, or municipal law or ordinance. The juvenile justice system is meant to be primarily rehabilitative in nature, as opposed to the predominantly punitive character of the criminal justice system. And while individuals who are found guilty of crimes in a criminal court receive a criminal conviction, children who are found to have violated criminal laws in juvenile court are so-called adjudicated delinquent. However, in some instances, juveniles can be transferred to the adult system and tried in criminal court. For example, Section 5-130 of Article 405 states that, quote, the definition of delinquent minor shall not apply to any minor who, at the time of an offense, was at least 16 years of age and who is charged with first-degree murder, aggravated criminal sexual assault, or aggravated battery with a firearm. These charges and all other charges arising out of the same incident shall be prosecuted under the criminal laws of this state. In addition to this statutory exclusion, which automatically transfers use to the criminal justice system, Section 5-805 of Article 405 allows for the transfer of certain youths 15 years of age or older who have been accused of a forcible felony in furtherance of criminal activity by an organized gang and have previously been adjudicated delinquent or found guilty of a separate forcible felony. In these situations, quote, if the state's attorney files a petition to permit prosecution under the criminal laws, and if the juvenile judge determines that there is probable cause to believe that the allegations in the petition and motion are true, there is a rebuttable presumption that the case should be transferred to the criminal court. Likewise, the statute also allows a minor 13 years of age or over of who has been accused of any crime to be transferred to criminal court if the state's attorney files a motion requesting the transfer and a juvenile judge finds that there is probable cause to believe that the allegations in the motion are true and that, quote, it is not in the best interests of the public for the case to proceed in a juvenile justice system. Here, because criminal damaging is a misdemeanor offense, it is highly likely that any charges would be brought in the juvenile court and not transferred to the criminal justice system.
She at least getting 2 charges. And if y'all don't give her both charges, I want both y'all badge numbers.
Oh, here goes the
Man,
badge
I ain't
numbers.
going for that shit.
Well, you know what? No offense, but if you're gonna hear, okay, keep walking then. Keep walking then. Yeah. First of all, you're not a police officer, right?
Well, I know exactly.
Did you go to law school? Did you go to police officer school?
Look, I know
You have a badge?
exactly.
Did you go through the academy?
No, I went
So
to
you
court
went to court once or twice, so all of a sudden now you know the law. First of all, don't tell me how to do my
Man,
job.
you ain't
All
doing
right?
your job right.
I just
You
got
ain't doing your
here.
job right.
You don't even know me.
Shut up.
He did say
If you want to do something, do
Yeah, believe it or not, dude, I think part of him doing his job is not arguing with fucking random morons.
something then, son. Little kid, you call me over here and then you trying to threaten me, son? I'll slap you on some silvers and take you down to county. That's what I gotta do, because what you gonna do? False arrest?
What you gonna
False
arrest me
arrest?
for?
You didn't just point that stick at me?
Is your camera on?
You see that red dot? It's on. It's on. It's on with your scary.
I ain't
Okay,
scared.
sure.
So annoying. What a dumbass.
No,
is
you
this
watch
guy.
what you
Jesus
say.
Christ.
You watch what you say. You watch what you say,
ain't
kid.
watching
I don't know who you think you're talking to, but first of all, you don't talk to me like
Yeah,
that. You understand that?
I'm not
I'm
no
here to
kid.
help you. Before I even got here, you like, y'all ain't gonna do. I just got
Get
here.
out my face.
You. I'm right here, mother.
Rookie.
Yeah, I want to be nerd Andy and watching an analysis video, okay? But listen. My take. Cops, their only job is to serve the people and maintain safety and also to de-escalate everything possible, right? Always. Him escalating here is a joke. That's a joke.
I'm right here.
That's
Shut up.
That's police brutality.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? Because you went to court once or twice?
You mean? I know my laws.
Officer Rosario engages in repeated arguments with Mr. Humes and eventually
What the
approaches
fuck?
him and pushes him. We will discuss the legality of Officer Rosario engaging physically with Mr. Humes later in this episode. But for now, it's important to note that his verbal interaction with Mr. Humes almost certainly violated his department's policies. According to Rule 18 of the
Subdued.
current version of the Springfield Police Department Rules of Conduct, which have been revised several times since this interaction occurred, quote, members will be courteous to the public at all times and will not express any prejudice concerning race, religion, politics, age, national origin, lifestyle, gender, or disabilities. Members will be tactful in the performance of their duties, controlling their tempers, and exercising the utmost patience and discretion, and will not engage in
So it says in the
argumentative
video last time.
discussions even in the face of extreme provocation. In the performance of their
Real
duties,
shit.
members will not use coarse, violent, profane, or insolent language or gestures. Here, although Officer Rosario's aggressive and argumentative conduct clearly violates this rule, as we have previously discussed on ATA, an officer's violation of department policy is generally not considered to be illegal unless it also constituted a violation of a statute or other legal requirement. Under Section 33-3 of Article 5 of Title 720 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes, quote, a public officer or employee commits misconduct when, in his official capacity, he or she commits any of the following acts: intentionally or recklessly fails to perform any mandatory duty as required by
makes sense,
civil
makes sense.
or
I get
penal
that.
statute, Supreme Court rule as
get
a
it.
law for the purposes of this statute. Given the treatment of department
I
policies
get
in
I
other
get these points. I
cases,
get them.
it is
I
likely
wonder
a
what
court
happens.
would determine
My
that Officer
shades,
Rosario's
Dior,
verbal
my pants,
conduct did
velour.
not rise
Create,
to the level of
explore,
official misconduct,
expand,
though it was
conquer.
undoubtedly
I
a
came,
violation of the
I saw,
department rules
I
of
came,
conduct.
I
Ma'am, if we find her, she's gonna be arrested for criminal damage. Did she hit you today?
You mean put your hands?
Shut the up. Did she hit you today? I'm not a. You watch your mouth.
I
Put
said
her
what I
hands on the
want.
back.
As soon as I put my hands on your punk, so I know how it's gonna go.
I'm not even gonna take you to jail. I'll give you the freedom of that.
Man, you a
You want to put one or two?
Ain't no way they gave this no
Yeah.
pixel public server police officer real badge. Deadass, this
Well,
is
first of all, your son's
goofy.
got a mouth on him. Yep. And now I can see why your daughter's acting all out of control. You want to throw some hands, man? We can throw some hands, and I won't even arrest you, man. I'll let you go right in there. Oh, like I've never heard that before.
Can I have your badge? I mean, you just pushed me. I mean, I want that.
What the fuck?
me, dude.
Oh, really?
I want that number.
So you scared now?
Wow.
Is that what it
I
is?
want your
Okay.
number, though.
I pushed you once and you scared. That's why you scared. My camera is on.
Now it's on.
My camera's been on. What do you want me to do for you to put some hands on me?
Just come back over.
You want me to put my pistol away? You want me to put my badge away?
Come back over without your uniform.
I'm not even gonna tase you. I'm not even gonna mace you. I'm gonna give you these hands, and you still gonna run your mouth. You still scared. Dude,
what
I'm
am I
done with you,
watching?
dude. If you ain't gonna throw hands, then shut the up. If you ain't gonna.
Officer Rosario takes off his badge and throws it on the ground, and then approaches Mr. Humes and shoves him for a second time. Mr. Humes retaliates, leading to a physical altercation, during which Officer Rosario wrestles Mr. Humes to the ground and punches him in the face and head more than a dozen times, even though Mr. Humes remained in a defensive position. Under Section 12-3 of Article 5 of Title 720 of the Illinois Compiled Statutes, quote, a person commits battery if he or
Dude,
she
what am I watching?
knowingly, without legal justification, by any means, causes bodily harm to an individual or makes physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with an individual. As the Supreme Court of Illinois detailed in the 1982 case of People versus Mays, quote, although it may be difficult to pinpoint exactly what constitutes bodily harm for the purposes of the statute, some sort of physical pain or damage to the body, like lacerations, bruises, or abrasions, whether temporary or permanent, is required. Otherwise, there would be no need for the other type of battery, contact of an insulting or provoking nature. Additionally, under Section 12-3.05 of Article 5, quote, a person commits aggravated battery when, in committing a battery, he or she knowingly causes great bodily harm or permanent disability or disfigurement.
Jesus.
The Second Division of the First District Appellate Court of Illinois explained in the 1991 case of People versus Figures that while the term great bodily harm, quote, is not susceptible of a precise legal definition, it requires an injury of a greater and more serious character than an ordinary battery.
Yeah, I feel like
the question of whether the
the courts
victim's
are pretty good at
injuries rise to
determining
the
one
level
or the
of
other,
great
right?
bodily harm is a question for the trier of fact, which is neither dependent upon hospitalization of the victim nor the permanency of his disability or disfigurement. Instead, the determination centers upon
Sure.
the injuries which the victim did in fact receive. In the Figures case, the court considered the 1984
Bro,
case.
dude, man, this chat, like, what the fuck is this, man? Bro, get some help, chat. Holy fuck, man. Get some help on the ASAP, dude. Jesus Christ.
Of People versus Matthews, where it had affirmed an aggravated battery
Unhinged.
conviction based on great bodily harm, where the victim was struck on the head with a gun and received several full-force blows on the head and arms with a baseball bat, despite the victim's admission that she only had a bruise on her head. However, the court ultimately determined that the injury at question in the case they were reviewing, where the defendant fired a shot which pierced the victim's shoe but did not penetrate his skin, did not rise to the level of great bodily harm.
Interesting.
Here, given the broad discretion given to the fact finder to determine if a victim suffered bodily harm or great bodily harm, it is certainly possible that a jury could determine that Officer Rosario committed either battery or aggravated battery in his attack on Mr. Humes.
Hold on, what the f***, Don?
Don't arrest him. Don't arrest him.
Man,
What the fuck?
man, what's up?
Come on, really?
What's up?
Like I told you, dude. You ain't about that life, kid.
Like I told you.
Like I told you, you ain't about that life.
Hold on, I got
Now go inside.
Like I told you.
Go inside. We done here.
Yeah, man.
Man, why don't you let me slam
I'm not involved. I'm not involved.
Why
with
don't you
that.
let me slam that?
Don't
Why'd
talk to
you
me,
want to talk
okay?
about put my hands behind my back?
Don't
Why'd
talk
you
to
let
me.
me do this?
Don't talk-
I'm sorry, but your son over here needs some discipline.
Man, I wish you would just get back in the street
Oh.
one more time.
Manny, should I give him one more? Should I turn this off and give him one more? I don't
Oh
think
my-
you want it, kid.
Come back later, why I got my
Ma'am, if she comes back, would you just give us a call, please?
What is this
okay, and we'll
fucking
hand her
weird-ass
accordingly.
fake
Officer
gangster
Rosario
cop from
and Officer
RP? Like, what?
Manzanares left the scene without any further incidents, and Officer Rosario later returned with several other officers to apologize to Mr. Humes. Mr. Humes informed Officer Rosario that he did not need to apologize, and when officers returned without Officer Rosario to photograph the injuries on Mr. Humes' face, Mr. Humes told them that Officer Rosario should be promoted. Immediately following the incident, Officer Rosario was placed on leave while the Springfield Springfield Police Department conducted an internal
Hey,
investigation.
Tanner
He was
from high
terminated from his
school.
position
Do you
on May
remember
9,
me and the
2017.
boys?
He was also charged with official misconduct and 2 counts of battery in the Circuit Court of Sangamon County. And after a trial, a jury found him guilty of official misconduct and 1 count of battery for making, quote, physical contact of an insulting or provoking nature with Mr. Humes. However, the jury determined that he was not guilty of battery causing bodily harm. As a result of his conviction, former Officer Rosario was sentenced to 24 months probation and ordered to comply with mental health, substance abuse, and anger management treatment. When issuing this sentence, Judge John Madonia stated that the body camera footage of the incident, quote, absolutely has the potential to erode confidence our community has to place in our officers, and that he had, quote, a responsibility to impose a...
The dude had no intention of helping the crime that was already committed, right? Then literally escalated a situation to the point where he offered to fight the guy and drop his fucking badge, right? Literally possibly creating a new crime.
Sentence based on the jury's verdict.
How is
to
that,
also
how
make
did,
sure it
how
doesn't
did,
happen
does he not
again,
get more?
and that
Like
our
what?
community be confident
Holy,
that we're addressing these
looks
issues.
like some
Overall,
of you guys
Officer
need
Rosario,
to get faded than a hoe. The question is not if you ever had a sober stream. Instead, the question is, shall we? Does it go much further than that?
gets an F for maintaining a confrontational and aggressive attitude throughout the encounter,
Look at this
escalating the
dude.
situation instead of taking steps to de-escalate when faced with Mr. Humes' hostile conduct, initiating a fist fight with Mr. Humes, and striking him repeatedly when he was on the ground in a defensive position.
wanna see
While I
the
appreciate that
punches,
Officer Rosario
I could-
later apologized for his behavior, his actions were so egregious that I cannot in good conscience assign him a higher grade,
Why, man,
even
to
though he
see-
eventually took responsibility for misconduct. As Judge Madonia pointed out during
the
his
nature of the
sentencing,
encounter.
interactions like these can significantly erode the public's confidence in police departments in general, and there is absolutely no excuse for an officer initiating a physical altercation with a citizen because of his speech under any circumstance.
This was absolutely unhinged.
Mr. Humes gets a C-, because although he was within his First Amendment rights to challenge Officer Rosario, he maintained a hostile demeanor throughout the interaction, consistently taunted and provoked Officer Rosario, and urged Officer Rosario to physically attack him on...
Even though he says he's provoking him, I feel like this shouldn't be an argument, since police officers shouldn't be provocable. Police shouldn't... This is how it is, though, I feel like it. Because they should know not to do anything. That's just it.
multiple occasions. While Mr. Humes' behavior in no way justified any of Officer
No police should do something because they're being provoked in this manner.
Rosario's conduct, Mr. Humes certainly did not do himself any favors by continuing to antagonize Officer Rosario and engage with him in a negative manner.
It's legal.
That being said, as we have discussed many times here on ATA, the First Amendment protects a substantial amount of criticism.
You're saying police are human too, but you don't get it though. You don't get it though. In a situation like this, right? You can't do something or act upon you being provoked by words, whatever, and things that people are allowed to do, right? And legally are allowed to do the whole time. It's how it is. Like, I don't know why you're being such a weirdo.
Towards the police. And Officer Rosario's response was not only unprofessional, but it likely violated Mr. Humes' constitutional rights. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching.
No, it doesn't depend on circumstances. Literally, the law will protect you. I'm pretty sure most, if not every state, you can literally just, like, you shouldn't do this, okay? I'm just saying, by law, right? I'm pretty sure you can say, like, fuck you, you can do signs, you can do bullshit, you can, like, be a weirdo a little bit. That's just kind of like, that's like allowed, literally.